How do you prepare to upload your book to Kindle Direct Publishing? It's not as simple as you may think. In the past, I did a step-by-step tutorial on YouTube on how to upload your book to Kindle Direct Publishing, but that's assuming your files are already prepared and ready to upload. What if you don't know how to prepare your files? Meaning the interior of the book and the cover of your book. You have to have those files already ready to go before you start to upload them to Kindle Direct Publishing. So that's what we're talking about today. Everything that you need to do to prepare your files and format them properly so they are ready to upload to Kindle Direct Publishing. Your book cover and the interior of your book will already need to be formatted, so let's talk about it. I just wanted to stop in real quickly to tell you about InkersCon 2025, which takes place from June 7th to June 20th, and it is a digital online writing conference. It has Q&A with bestsellers, roundtables, workshops, co-working, networking, and more. I went to it last year, absolutely loved it, took so many notes. It covers everything from writing, marketing, even cover design. There's so much to love about it. Quite literally, there's something for everyone, whether you're a brand new writer who's never published or you're a writer that's published many books. If you want to buy tickets, please use code Mandi25 to get $50 off. That is all, and I hope you guys enjoy the conference as much as I do. Hello everyone, and my name is Mandi. I'm an author, the creator of the Book Launch Planner series, and I also make courses on book cover design and book formatting. If you want weekly videos on the business of being an author, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you never miss a new upload. You can also join as a YouTube member to get early access to videos and behind the scenes content. This video is not going to be a tutorial on how to publish your book on KDP. This video is just prepping the files. So if you want the actual tutorial, I will leave that linked down below. But before you can do the tutorial, you have to prepare your files by formatting, and that's what we are talking about today. So let's start off by talking about your print book first and the interior of your print book. So newsflash, you have to format your book yourself. If you're not familiar with the book formatting process, you can either hire someone to format your book or you can do it yourself. There's a ton of DIY routes, but I personally recommend taking my book formatting course. In that course, I teach you how to format your book for print and ebook using Adobe InDesign. I find Adobe InDesign to be one of the best options because the options are limitless and you can make really beautiful designs for your book, especially for your print book. Now there's a couple things that we also have to talk about when it comes to the print interior of your book, and that is the ISBN. You need to make sure that you have your ISBN listed on the copyright page of your book. If you don't have that on there, they will reject your files and you'll have to update it. There's also some other things you might want to include on your copyright page. So if you want a video specific to what you should be putting on the copyright page of your book, let me know in the comments down below and I'll make sure to do that. Now, let's talk about trim size, because when I say you need to format your book, I mean that you need to make it to the correct trim size and all the other bells and whistles that come with formatting your book. But the main thing is trim size, because odds are if you're writing in a Word document or something similar, you're writing in a document that is 8.5 by 11, but books aren't printed on 8.5 by 11 paper. You're gonna need to choose a standard book size trim. I recommend that when you're on Amazon KDP that you select from the most popular trim sizes. I believe there's 4 different ones, but there's also a bunch of other different trim sizes. There's also custom trim sizes. When it comes to selecting a trim size, just go with the same size of other books in your genre. You want your book to fit in with other books on the bookshelf. Now, when it comes to getting your book down to the proper trim size, there's a bunch of different ways of doing it. If you take my course, I actually have a template in my course where you customize the template to whatever trim size you want. And basically, you just input your manuscript into the document from there. There's also templates that KDP actually gives out. They are Word document templates where you paste your document into this other document that is the correct trim size. Now, you can format your book in Microsoft Word, especially if it's a novel. It's a bit easier to do some book formatting in Microsoft Word if you have a regular novel without any photos, but it's kind of finicky and a very annoying process. I used to format my books in Microsoft Word and I hated it. It was a multi-day process, whereas when I format my books in Adobe InDesign, now that I know the software so well, it actually only takes like an hour or two for me to format my books because it's just that much easier. Now let's talk about bleed settings. You'll need bleed in your book when you have an image that extends past the page. And I personally do this a lot when I design chapter headers that are like a full page chapter header, and it just looks really pretty. But when you do that, you're gonna have to have bleed in your document so that it gets cropped correctly during the printing process. KDP recommends a bleed of 0.125. I personally tend to do a little bit bigger of a bleed just because I like to. If you take my course and use my template, the bleed is included in the template. Now with Microsoft Word, technically you can't do bleed in Microsoft Word. There is some workarounds, but it's a little more finicky and a lot harder to design with images in Microsoft Word. Now, what type of file does your book need to be when you export it and upload it to KDP? There's 4 different types that you can upload. It's a PDF, a doc/docx, HTML, or RTF. And while those are all the accepted types of documents, I personally recommend doing just PDF, no matter what situation, but especially when you have a bleed, you have to use a PDF document if you have a document with bleed. Now let's talk about the cover files for your print book. Your cover files have to be a PDF. Now, if you hire a cover designer, you don't have to worry about any of this. Just use whatever files your cover designer gives you and they should be perfect. But if you're designing your cover yourself, you're gonna have to create a book cover wrap. And a book cover wrap includes the front cover, the spine of your book, and also the back cover of your book. I don't recommend using KDP's cover creator that they offer. It's just not great and it's gonna look ugly. But what I do recommend is if you want to design your book cover yourself, I have a course on book cover design. I actually have 3 courses on book cover design. The first course is a course on Photoshop basics that you need to know as an author when working in Photoshop. The second course is typography. So this is if you hire someone to do illustrations for your book cover and then you take that illustration and turn it into a book cover and you have to add in all the typography yourself. And then the third course is an advanced course where you're designing your book cover from scratch using stock images. You can buy these courses individually to suit your needs, or you can buy them as a big course bundle if you plan on designing book covers. And I also, of course, talk about how to design a book cover wrap, book cover jackets if you're doing hardcover books. I also have videos here on YouTube talking about how to design your book cover wrap, and I have tutorials for Photoshop. I also have a tutorial for doing that in Canva as well. Either way, no matter where you're designing or how you design it, export it as a PDF and use that to upload to KDP. So that is print books. Print books are a little more complicated, so now let's move on to ebooks, specifically the interior file of your ebook. And once again, you have to format your ebook interior files yourself, except formatting a print book and formatting an ebook are 2 very different processes. I personally find ebooks a little trickier to format, but it depends on what software you're using. And let me tell you, there's many different softwares that you can use to format your ebook, but I'm gonna talk about 3 different options today. So option number 1 is the option that probably most beginners like, and that is using Draft to Digital. Draft to Digital is actually a different publishing platform, but I personally have used it as a hack to format books. You can take your Microsoft Word document and upload it to Draft to Digital, and Draft to Digital has the option to format your ebook through their website. And then instead of publishing it through Draft to Digital, you just download the EPUB file and use that to upload to KDP. Now, as much as I like this option, it has a ton of trial and error. It's a little finicky, but it does get the job done, and it's how I personally formatted all my ebooks in the beginning. And I have a video here on YouTube talking about that process and a full tutorial if you want to take that route. Option number 2 is using Adobe InDesign. Obviously, I've already talked about using Adobe InDesign to format your print book, but you can also use it to format your ebook. In fact, if you already used Adobe InDesign to format your print book, there's just a few simple steps that you do to turn your print book into an ebook. Now, the caveat with Adobe InDesign is that if you have a very complex book that has a lot of photos and graphs, it's a little bit harder to format your ebook. just because in Adobe InDesign you can't control the size of images on an ebook, and that means it may not look the way you want it to. So if that's the case, I recommend using software number 3, Kotobee Author. Now, Kotobee Author is a software that is designed just for ebooks, and it was actually made to design ebooks for textbooks. So this is an ebook that is made to look fancier and made to have charts and have photos. So if that's the type of ebook you have, that's why I like this software best. You can control image sizes a lot easier, and I just find the customability in this ebook formatting software really nice. And whenever I worked with clients and I would format their ebooks and they had really complex ebooks, this is the software I would use. Now, if you're not familiar with Kotobee Author, I actually have a full tutorial on the software here on YouTube. So again, that will be linked below. And the last thing I'll talk about when it comes to your interior files of your ebook is the ISBN. You actually don't technically need an ISBN when it comes to ebooks. So you don't have to worry about including that in your copyright page. You also don't have to worry about buying an ISBN if you don't want to. But you can if you really want to, and you can include it on your copyright page. And now let's talk about your ebook's cover files. So your ebook's cover file is super simple because you don't need a full cover wrap, you just need the cover itself. And they only accept the cover file as a JPEG or a TIFF file. And I do have a fun hack for you because a lot of the time people find that their images are either dull or that their image looks blurry when it gets published on Amazon. So the solution to that is that when you have your book cover in Photoshop, you export it first as a PNG. Then go into Photoshop and create a new document. Make that document 1600 by 2560 pixels. Then take your PNG and plop it into that document and resize it if you need to, and then export that as a JPEG. And when you do that, you keep your vibrant colors, and then it also makes it the perfect size that KDP is looking for. And when you do that, it doesn't look blurry on Amazon. If you want more hacks like this, make sure to check out my cover design course. As someone who's designed literally hundreds of covers, these are the types of weird little hacks that I've discovered over time. Anyways, that is it for this video. That is everything that you have to do to prep your files before you can upload them to KDP. And of course, if you want to learn more about the DIY routes of book formatting and book cover design, make sure to check out my courses. Once again, everything I mentioned in terms of other videos to watch and my courses will be linked below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next week.